G'day punters, welcome to the Deep Dive Cup Week edition. Jack Dickens, Jackson Oldham here to help me review what was, as always, a sensational Cup Week. It's the best carnival going round, obviously. Boys, we're going to go through the best performances of Cup Week.
And just also, FYI, Shane Keller is not here today because he's on the Gold Coast trying to find us another horse. So if you want to get involved, I don't know, if you head to the mailbag.com.au and click the link, you'll find a way to express your interest in racing horses with us. And we'd like to thank Mailbag Bloodstock for sponsoring this show and everything else that we do moving forward. Peter,
Have you got any merch for that yet?
not yet.
Okay, looking forward to that. Where do we start with? Do we start with the best of the best? Very elegant.
Just on, hang on, you've got me going now. Just on merch, like, do you reckon if we win like a Benalla Maiden, we'll get like a hat made up? You know how they get or we get like a Coolmore jacket, like Benalla Maiden and 22,000 the winner.
I'm expecting like a little photo of the win to appear behind you, just like slowly, just like they increase in number. And then all of a sudden you need to build a bigger place when you get to that stage. When you reach Brace-Sokolsky stage, where you get very elegant winning Melbourne Cup with the biggest figure of its career, going to a massive PB, then you can build a bigger place because
knocking off the other horse that you bought for 600,000. Yeah,
it's amazing. But look, she shat in at a new level. What do you make of it in hindsight?
That not enough like genuine full credit has gone to, and I like disgusted with what he got caught doing, but Darren Weir gives these horses a base, like Nature Strip and Very Elegant are the two best horses in Australia. Nature Strip wins the Everest. He started $1.30 and pissed in a good Group 1, which used to be a good Group 1 at Flemington. That's the best sprinter in Australia. And the best stayer, you could argue, in the world, up there. They both started with him. Well, Nature Strip, the poor old thing, he's had a journey. Like, he was once with Smurden. Smurden picked him up to Yearling Sale. So, there's like a lot to take in. Very Elegant. I think that the training performance is so elite, and when we had him on, he talked about his zinger burgers and his two-piece feeds. He was very much a ritual and tradition man. This is how I like to do it because it works. That's what we did with Winks. You could see on the punting form that like fourth up is when this horse peaks, and it just did the same thing again. Except it went to an unbelievable level, and to the eye, if it couldn't have gone 2 lengths faster, I'd be surprised. Just didn't sort of need to. He didn't ask her to do a lot. She was just hooning. Now, whether it's just like champion horse feeling perfect on the day or just a severe, unbelievable training performance, I don't know. But she's put a hole in a good field and it's a big figure. And I think full credit to everyone, legitimate full credit to everyone. And full credit to Racing Victoria for no horses got injured in the Melbourne Cup, and it was as good or better Melbourne Cup than I've ever seen.
Okay. Just to quickly summarise how good Walla was this week, we've got the top 8 performances. Very Elegant was the best of them. 4 of the top 8 he trained. 3 of those 4 went to a PB in Cup Week, like just on the dot. Jacko, Cox Plate form line holds up again going into a Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, it does. Which it looked like a good Cox play with Animo stayed to rest, but I didn't think she had this level in her. Like I didn't think she had a 20 lengths above. I thought she was a great horse. I thought a dry deck would be a question mark, and as did the market. Like the market didn't like her, but yeah, I think the top 4, as the margin shown, are all proper horses. And then, just big caps back, but 8.3 lengths above the class in a Melbourne Cup is unbelievable.
Yeah, how good's the Animo form been? Like, the Derby winners come out of the Guineas, Animo. The Melbourne Cup winners come out of the Cox Plate. Probably should have been Animo. It's an unbelievable form line.
It is.
Proper. elite. Look, if there was one other trainer who managed to peak them all for Cup Week, though, it was John O'Shea, and the second biggest figure of the week was Quantico, minus 15.5 on puntingform.com.au's overall benchmark figure.
Thank the gods that we just zagged slightly to get this horse on our team, because it would have been probably pretty wobbly as it was, but it would have been real wobbly without this thing. The most sickening thing is that, like, Very Elegant, it's just a clusterfuck and could have so easily been a bet for us, and it wasn't.
Yep.
And then you look down the page, like, Colette's knocked us off but it's run a PB.
We've just A1 Ollie, like, just at his absolute there on Colette. Like, I thought we were completely home, and they're like, what's this blue thing poking up the fence?
He and J-Mac put on a real clinic, didn't they, all week?
Yeah. They were just so much better than every other bloke there. Like, D Lane, Craig Williams both had pretty poor carnivals by their standards, and yeah, there was just two blokes you wanted on your team, and that was Ollie and J-Mac.
Back to John O'Shea. Like, I don't know how you handle it. It'll be fascinating to see how John O'Shea and J-Mac go back to, like, you know, Wyong on a Thursday in 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks sort of thing. If they can maintain this level of dominance and just elite performance, or if they drop back to the norm.
O'Shea's been airborne for the last month or so. Like, he's going at 26%, like his last month, pretty much. 24% ROI, so he's completely airborne currently.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's one of those as well. I know with obviously Bend the Knee was coming from your more provincial levels, but Minaj is, like, as soon as he took over that horse this prep, like, just been flying the whole way through. So,
well, it had that one big figure, Pete, like, where it exploded in a really good race, which is a race where the form out of that race isn't sweet. Like, that's a September run form who's, like, went to that level and has never got near it. And then, yeah, like, now it's just back there. It couldn't maintain that number, and now it's just it pissed in.
yeah.
It could have gone quicker if it had to. If it was more tempo on that race, it would have sustained it and won easier. It was unbelievable.
Rounding out the top three performances for Cup Week was Nature Strip with minus 15.2. No real surprise there. It obviously won at $1.20, whatever it was, but just been ultra consistent so far this preparation, I think it's fair to say. And really, I guess it's disappointing that the Darley Sprint has been compromised by some of the other sprint races around, but it won the Everest, which is clearly the biggest sprint race in the country these days, and I think everyone else is going to have to change to try and work around it.
Yeah, I think they will, but I don't know if they need to. Like, if you think about it, this race is like, say, 2 proper sprinters away from an Everest. Like, in the Everest, it's like Nature Strip, Eduardo, Mars Crusader, and Classic Legend. The rest is, like, unlikely to win. It's not that far. Like, the Everest isn't like a 12-horse race where it's $8 a field. I think it's sort of overhyped how good it is. I think there's just not that many good sprinters at the moment. There's not many good horses at the moment. Like, great horses. We've got a couple of them, and they've all showed up at Flemington and pissed in. Like, I'm surprised with how big the figure is that Nature Strip's run, because it was such a, like, on paper and to the narrative and the yarn, it was a shit race. But that's a big figure. That's a bigger figure than they ran in the Everest, isn't
it? Give me a moment.
Yeah, it is.
So it's gone to a bigger level and run a faster overall time, a bigger puntingform.com.au benchmark figure at Flemington than in the Everest.
And went quicker early in the Everest, ran 11.3 to the 6, and then overall 12.3, and ran 8.2 to the 6 at Flemington and then came home a lot stronger. So you would argue on paper that this is a better performance on the data.
Yeah. So I think maybe the Everest is a little bit overhyped, but it's a great race, and it's just a stupid system that we're in where prize money and big races are wasted, because there's going to be times where there's absolutely nothing to look forward to for a month, and racing could use that stimulus package then.
Yeah, speaking of which, we'll get to that towards the end, but the next 3 weeks in Melbourne looks fascinating on paper. It's different to what it's been previously. Rounding out the top 8, we had Colette in the Empire Rose, we had Home Affairs in the Coolmore, Superstorm First Day in the
Cantala.
I'm getting the names mixed up. Espiona, Monster PB there, and then Zaki in the final day in the McKinnon. Now, I was pretty happy to take on Zaki, but in the end, again, it just shows how good J-Mac is just jumping back on board these horses. You know, whether or not they're difficult to ride or not, he's just getting the best out of them. You just put Zaki to sleep out in front, slow tempo, just gap them. And the market knew as well.
I think, like, we talk about it heaps, Pete, for years. Zaki's gone minus 5.1 to the 6, minus 5.5 home. It's like perfection. He's got like the balance just right for the horse. His sectionals are like a 12.4, the 10 to the 8, then an 11.96, 8 to the 6. So he's increased the tempo. Then he's gone 11 flat from the 6 to the 4. From there, he's slowed down, but he's broken the race. Like, the other horses have had to accelerate too quickly to stay in contention in the race, so they haven't got that turn of foot left for the last little bit. It was a great ride. It was as good a ride as he gave all week. It doesn't look like as sensational, you know, when you watch it on the tape, and it's just jumps in front and leads. But his timing and rhythm here is just perfect.
I think the other horses sort of not turning up on the day probably makes Zaki's performance look a little bit better than what it was. Like, Mwanga's rated down here, Hungry Heart's rated down, Colette's rated down. Like, they've all rated down off their peak sort of earlier in the week or a couple of weeks before. Zaki from the yard I thought could have gone one way or the other. Like, wasn't a great parade. Looked a little on edge, a little toey. So I laid him. Obviously wasn't happy with that post race, but sort of looking at the data.
You weren't happy with it?
Nah. I wasn't happy with the fact that he's just lobbed in front and was like $1.30 on the turn. I thought probably not a great lay in hindsight, but Zaki hasn't run a great figure here, and pretty much everything else is rated down. So I wouldn't sort of take this as he's a champion or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. He's failed to beat the class benchmark in 3 of his 4 starts this preparation. Ironically, they were the 3 races he won. The only time he's beaten the class benchmark was when he ran 3rd at Caulfield. So I think there still has to be a genuine query if he turns up against the best of the best in Victoria, but he probably won't do that next prep.
He wouldn't have won the Cox Plate, in my opinion. Very confident in saying that. Mwanga, though he rated down, he was a lot closer to the finish in this race than he was in the Cox Plate. He wasn't even on the screen. I think that I just can't see how he would have beaten the 2 good horses in the Cox Plate.
Yep. The other 2 Group 1s of the week, the Derby, or the Derby as you guys say over there, and the Oaks, both plain figures. You know, I guess to be expected, given that, you know, we're looking at 3-year-olds trying to do their best over a staying trip, but still, what do you do with these numbers for Hitotsu and Willowy going forward into next preparation?
The Oaks is legless. They'll all be racing at Pakenham in the autumn, I'd think. So I'll be looking to catch up with them in the yard on a warm Thursday night, about March or Feb. So that'll be... if Willowy doesn't have Ollie, it doesn't win. So I sort of lobbed myself at about just after the clock tower, at about the 125, and past me, I thought probably like he's just going to miss, but Ollie just lifted her over the line. It was an unbelievable ride.
It is unbelievable. It's like he gets bigger, like a fucking Marvel character. The horse gets smaller, and he just fucking drags the thing, kicks it up and says, "We're going to keep going."
He was absolutely screaming at it too, may I just say.
I reckon it would have been a bit of a frustrating week for the great man. Like, even though he's dominated, like the stupid rule to get rubbed out in that carnival for the last day, which would cost him heaps of money, he would have wasted to ride Delphi in the Cup again for no real gain.
No reason. Yeah, probably not. I have a little bit more optimism about the Derby. I think just maybe a couple of horses just didn't run the trip. Obviously, the horse that did was Hitotsu, and the market knew. Completely steamed at the last sort of 20 minutes in betting. It was the only horse they wanted.
This is like a There's a genuine steamer. The lightly raced horse up in trip is a big tick. The big dogs love it. This horse clocked closing sectionals that will melt your little heart. This horse has unlimited upside. You can't bag anything it's done here. The 2.5, 2.9, 2.1, 2.1, the 200 home, they're all negatives. So it's a negative 2.5, a negative 2.9, a negative 2.1. The 2.1 was like eased down. It was all over. It was well worse than midfield. Matt Hill called it can't win at top of the straight. Like, this is a box-ticking beast, this thing. Blessed. But as you'd expect and anticipate by a slow tempo, like they're not going to tear it up in a derby. None of these horses have been that far before. But like the 1600 to 2500, legitimate full credit to Kieran Maher and his team, Eustace and co. Johnny Allen, fucking airborne. You can't, like, momentum's the greatest thing in the world, isn't it? And he's got so much of it, John. And full credit to you, John. Great ride.
Full credit.
I reckon this horse is progressive and really exciting. Versus, like, say, last year. Last year we saw a shit derby with a disgraceful result, in my opinion, because it cost me a lot of money. But that horse has ended up doing nothing, whereas Young Werther was SP'd, $10, $12 in a Caulfield Cup. And it was beaten. This horse, to me, is a lot better than Young Werther. So I think Hitotsu is going to be there or thereabouts in a lot of big races moving forward. These guys love big races. I think that's where this horse is headed, and I think this horse is one of the better horses out of the carnival. Particularly because it can stay. Like it's rare air in Australia to be able to stay. Like the Espinosas, all these really exciting, and they are very exciting other horses. They're getting a competitive like a lot of horses. He looks like he's going to get like 3,200 metres off this data. He's favourite to get further.
What sort of type is he?
I didn't remember. I can't remember.
He didn't grab me as I thought he'd get the 2,500 just on how relaxed he was. He doesn't grab me as a proper like 3,200 metre horse though. I think 2,000, 2,400 is going to be his go.
Okay.
I thought him and Gunstock traded well. The Bus and Young horse, the top weight was completely over the top. I wouldn't read anything into that. It was probably just one run too many for it, and the rest of them I thought were all pretty average from the yard.
I think Hitotsu is like just you want to find out, hey guys, what's the goal here? Like what are we going to try and win in autumn? And then is it Cox Plate or is it Caulfield Cup?
Yeah,
I think it'll be one of those two next spring, and
I reckon it'll be Cox Plate. But
so do I, because they get the weight relief, and that's what I would do. But I'd want to find out if you want to have a bet. But I'd be going, in Victoria now, go and have a little pub feed and just have a little ticket.
If the market's open. It should be. Look, if there was one other standout of Cup Week, it was the betting, and in particular how the markets reacted to the Walla camp, because how many winners did they have? 7 for the week?
Yeah, but I think God, who I don't think exists, but if he does, I'm convinced he bets and he follows the Walla J-Mac trends, because how the fuck did 5th position not win and then just let the Walla steamer hold on? Like, fuck, even when they shouldn't have won, the steamers they won. Yeah. Except the one except for April Rain. Barrier 2, no, I won't go rails and run.
And the horse we were on yesterday that halved in price and missed the start 5 lengths. But
and bled.
I did it.
Yeah. God doesn't exist, but if he does, he fucking hates us at the moment.
He fucking hates us last week. Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Fuck. Victor Holton got some. Anyway.
Just checked Hitotsu 50s, by the way, for Cox Plate pre-knobs.
I expected to be about 350 in the all-in market.
I expected like 10s. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, gotta have
He's probably not going. Everyone's going to suck. We don't have a clue where he's going. We're just saying he's the one of the stayers that we like. Yeah. And if we owned him, we go to Cox Plate. But obviously, we just backed the horse of Benella that like more than halved in price and missed the start by 5 and bled both nostrils. We're not going as good as Bray.
No. Bray is airborne. If you could back Bray, you'd back him
The
in
only
anything
thing
he
Bray's
does.
back that's shit itself is fucking Tim Smith.
Oh.
Oh, we have to talk about this Espiona, don't we? Fuck, it's
Yeah.
rubbing all the finger.
All right, so what was this horse? So I'd never heard of it. Like, I'm looking at these 3-year-old fillies and going, what is this? It's had one start previously at Warwick Farm, won by four lengths, best part of, at $1.45, breaking the class benchmark by 4.5 lengths. Only knocked off the class benchmark by 6.5 in a listed race, second start, and was backed as if completely...
It was fucking $2, Peter, into $1.35. It was unbelievable. You know how we do it in our price? It spits out our sort of starting point price, and it was fucking $1.20, you know? You know how stuff's a little bit aggressive. So then you go and check it, and I'm much less cautious if they're like one start and up. I sort of trust it more.
Yep.
But I thought, and Jackson probably went the other way, but I made the decision and it was wrong. The field was too big to take that sort of price middle of the day. That was at $2. So,
the reason we didn't pull the trigger, because I would have pulled the trigger the night before, but the other favourite, I can't remember its name, had raced the day before and they hadn't scratched it yet because RB, awesome. So I was like, we'll wait for that to come out and it'll be $1.60 after scratchings. And then I knew the big dogs had hit it late, but I thought during the day we might get some resistance. So we might get out to $1.70, $1.80 and we can just completely whack it, but they just steamed it all day. And
there was nothing like that all week, like where a bookie said, you know what, have some of it.
Yeah.
Apart from incentivise.
Yeah, but on debut, you're speaking of a little like close that just warms your little heart. Like holy shit! Like on debut, like the class benchmarks late were unbelievable, and it just had to rock up. Like this is another field apart from the winner that'll be at Pakenham again on a Thursday night. So hello to all of these as well. But yeah, it just had to turn up and be outside.
I don't know if we can say this, but let's just say it. Might have to edit this out, but full credit to us and to Pakenham for Pete. You don't even know about this because this is what happened. This is the truth. Is I grinded hard because we were losing and I did Pakenham, right? And I found 2 bets. Race 1, Lloyd Kennywell, which took me a long time to decide on because it's Lloyd Kennywell.
And it was even money, by the way.
It was even money. But the form was just like, the form it had was elite and the trial was just... So, back it, send it to Jackson. Keep digging. Race 5 for Paddy Payne, Billy Egan, the plate smashing, horse hitting Billy Egan. Horse just patting, not hitting. 250, pull the trigger. Also had a massive all up on him because why not? Send him to Jackson. Life got in the way. I thought that Jackson was going to block. Jackson normally would then back him and then send him.
But I'm out after Oaks Day, so I'm like, I'll get on and then I'll,
So he sent back to me like, oh, I'm set. So then like I send, but I didn't say that till like 11 o'clock at night. So then I go, oh fuck it, I'll just send in the morning. Because I can't send them 11 o'clock at night because people are asleep. Imagine like the people who are asleep, like I would normally be, who miss the price. It'd blow up. Wake up in the morning, like 7 a.m. It's like $1.80 the first one and $1.80 the second one. So we fucking missed the price. So I wait a little bit longer. It's like $1.80 and $1.80 still. I'm not sending them $1.80, Sort of $2 is a rule. First horse absolutely pisses in. Second horse starts $1.50. $1.50. Billy Egan and Paddy Payne might have had 5 horses go to the races on Thursday night. 4 of them won. Except for this one. So just when you think God hasn't jammed enough in the snuff, can you imagine the punters who at home after the shit week, we were shit this week. 9 straight months of winning, lifetime winning, but shit house this week.
Awful.
And a little bit of a stimulus package on a Thursday night at Pakenham with a filthy little all up that was $2, $2.50, which started $1.80, $1.50. They would have just rejoiced, It would have been like sunlight. We were back. And then it would have started $1.50 and fucking lost and savaged the line Billy Egan style. Just left it a little bit too late, the plate smasher. But every other Billy Egan horse, Paddy Payne won.
It was unbelievable. It was surreal.
Jackson, the sick fuck, was there.
Wowee. That's racing. How good is it?
It took me a long time and a lot of. I reckon I watched the trial 8 times of the Geelong Race 1 Godolphin horse because it was just like, fuck, I know this thing's going to steam, but I just don't know if we need this in our lives. So God bless. I think it was Dee Thornton. Beautiful, calm ride. 3 wide for a little bit. Didn't panic.
Yeah.
I needed it. Anyway, what are we talking about? Billy Egan?
No, we were talking about...
How's the Cup Week review show got so much Billy Egan involved? Why couldn't Billy Egan ride just a Canada on fucking Derby Day? Camel Passer would have won. I'm still not over Camel Passer.
It's been a hard, long week.
One of many. To round out off on Espiona, so.
Oh yeah, Espiona.
Just getting back to that, I think the only thing you can take out of its first 2 starts is that's a Group 1 horse on its early figures.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a narrative horse though now, Jacko, isn't it? Like, It's a great horse. We think it's going to be a very, very nice horse, but it's going to go around at a...
Yeah. This was our opportunity to launch, really, at like $1.65, and we didn't. But if we lost, I might have swan dived off the top of the hill stand, so... Also good that we didn't back it.
Yeah, there's an upside. Okay, so I mentioned before the upcoming couple of weeks. So usually this would be off to Sandown this week, Royal Sandown. You've got Hamilton Tuesday, Bendigo Wednesday, Pakenham Thursday, the Valley in Kyneton on Friday, Cranbourne for the Cup. That's now this week. Then you've got Ballarat the following Saturday for the Ballarat Cup. Then you have Caulfield for Zipping Classic Day the week after, which is Railway Stakes Day as well. So, good to see that all the jurisdictions can somehow get together and decide that maybe...
A little bit like...
And the week after that, sorry, just to interject, is Pakenham Cup Day. So the fun rolls on.
Well, that's the worst meeting of the year.
Yep.
Just followed by Ballarat. But not a lot of deep thinking, I think, here, like trying to drag it out. Should have just finished off on a high. We're just following the PVL style. Let's start the races at 9 a.m. and finish them at 8 p.m. That's great.
Doesn't look like there's been a lot of thinking or a lot of initiative. It's just almost, where do we cram these race meets in post-COVID?
Still, Friday should be good fun this week.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice track to bet out into the Valley.
I'll be at Cranbourne. There's less chance I go to Ballarat and Pakenham in sort of, consecutive weeks. That sounds a bit torturous, but we'll see.
Well, that's the upside, is that there's the Valley every Friday night for the remainder of the year, except for Christmas Eve.
Also, before we go, Peter, hypothetical time. So you've had a long week, right? You've had a long week gambling. I'm doing the yard and I'm sending it to you, and you're making the sort of decisions, right? Now, the last race comes around of the week, and I'll give you a huge push for the favourite, big push, massive push. But also say, hey, guess what, Pete? This Danny O'Brien horse is pretty forward first up. We haven't I can't actually find the note on the trial, but it's forward first up, and it's drifted 4.5% since opening prices went up. But on our prices, it's an over. What do you do?
I back the Danny O'Brien horse.
You what?
I back the Danny O'Brien horse.
That's nasty stuff from him, guys at home. That's nasty. I apologise to you, Jackson. I decided that we weren't going to back it, probably because Danny's last 50 is going at 6%. One of them, 2 of them, Superstorm, which is basically Bob Peters. Fuck me, it pissed him.
It was race 37 of 37. We've been just continually fucked for about four straight days. So I wasn't too angry at you.
If you rip him up on there on punting form, like his ROI career is poisonous. Current season's worse. Last 12 months is worse. His last 50's like horrendous.
But it'll probably turn though, according to.
Well, I've been saying that for 2 years, Miles, for 2 months. You know, and like
The only way is up.
it drifted 4.5% in the market. You think there'd be some kind of the market was so savvy all week.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Boys, it's been a pleasure. Get back on the horse. Keep doing what you do best. Find some more winners.
Exeter, 22nd of October was his last winner that wasn't Superstorm, which was actually Exeter's X Hayes. So has he got one of his own? Not on the page. Have a great week, guys. Bye for now.